Good evening, Spartan Nation. This is Spartan Grimlock here. I'd like to welcome you back to the channel. Today we've got ourselves another review. I just got in my order from the Godzilla US store of the Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic Translucent Heat Ray version Godzilla from the Godzilla X Kong series they put out. So, without further ado, let's get right on into that review. Starting off this review, I'd like to just take a little brief look at the box, and as you can see, we've got ourselves a nice depiction of Godzilla on the front of this box. The Godzilla vs. Kong logo here. We got our Monsterverse down here, and we have the moon glowing in the background with the city burning as Godzilla destroys it in his quest to take Kong down. But we're not here for the box, are we? Of course we're not. So, let's get into that figure, alright? Here we've got the big guy himself, and I have to say, as far as Hiya Toys go, I really like how this figure looks. Let's take a little closer look at him. We've got our typical Hiya Toys articulation. We have the hinged jaw. We have the hinged tongue. That seems like it's like a little staple for Hiya Toys. We have the ability for him to look up. We have the ability for him to look down. Godzilla can also look to his left, and you look to his right, kinda. Definitely a little limited. That plastic around here at the back of the neck, that is all a soft plastic, and I will show you why here in a second. We have ourselves a nice little bit of give in the shoulder. Doesn't get too much movement, but I'm not expecting a lot. We, of course, have our hinged elbow joint. We have our ball jointed hand. Get some good movement out of that, and of course the arm itself can get a nice 360-degree range of motion. Definitely nice. As far as ab crunch goes, Zilla does not have much of an ab crunch, and I think it's because of the way his dorsal plates were created. But you can kind of get him to like move at the waist just a little bit, not a whole lot. Afraid of spinning him around too much and then breaking him. We've got a little bit of joints here in the thighs. We have our double jointed knee, which is not bad, definitely pretty posable. We have 360-degree motion in the leg itself. We have our ball jointed feet. They can get a good ankle pivot. Not a whole lot of motion on this foot. Yeah. Just be very careful. I'm afraid of breaking the figure. Don't want to do that. And then, of course, we have the big man's tail. And the big man's tail, this piece right here is a solid piece. It's ball jointed all the way down. But you have very good range of motion with his tail. And that is very nice. I like it when we can get those range of motions and kind of get those nice poses where he can kind of look over his shoulder back at whoever's coming at him. But yeah, that's pretty cool. And of course, it can go nice and straight. Put him in a swimming pose if you want, or even in a running pose if you have the Kong figure. I'm going to see myself doing that a lot. Yeah, the articulation of this figure is pretty good, and I'm actually impressed. I didn't have any very stiff joints. I'm a little concerned about this foot here. It's a little tight, but probably working on it a little bit, it'll probably loosen up over some time. Now let's get right into the paint applications. As you can see, we have some nice nuclear blue paint here on the eyes, like he's firing off his heat ray. Then we have that blue paint extending here into the mouth, and it's also on the tongue as well. A little hard to see it from here, but yeah, as you can see, is on his tongue. And the blue paint also does appear a bit on the soft plastic neck piece, and then everything else starts to fade into this translucent blue plastic. That's his dorsal plates. As you can see, there's some bit of the blue there, kind of like a little glowy effect going on, and it goes all the way down to the very tip of his tail, which is really nice. I actually like that. I think that's a pretty cool and nifty effect that they did. They didn't overdo it. I know the Godzilla vs. Kong monster arts, like, I just feel he was just oversaturated with that nuclear blue color, and wasn't off-putting, but I think they could have executed it better. Hiya Toys, they definitely executed this a lot better than I hoped. And as you can see, you can kind of see the translucent nature of the dorsal plates here. You can see the white of the backdrop through the plates right through here, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I really like that gimmick. It's definitely something that I think they should probably try and do in Monster Arts as well. The clear plastic is always a nice little touch. Um, and if you remember, I mentioned about how these neck joints were all a soft plastic. Well, I think they did that because that is for the accessory piece that I showed you earlier. The headpiece and the neck piece. And we're going to attach those. Basically, I think it's so Hiya doesn't have it break, but you'll just remove the head. And then these are 3 separate pieces. Just make sure that you keep them together so they don't get confused next time you install them on your Godzilla. As you can see, it's a really long ball joint peg. You'll just rest that right here. And then the head, as you can see, there's a little ball joint port right there. We'll just go right on here. And there we go. And then we have Godzilla roaring his dominance over the other Titans. Or we can just take our little effect piece here, and that can just get worked into his mouth. There we go. Just had to finesse it a bit. But now we've got Godzilla firing his heat ray. And just pull him back. That's pretty nice. I'll stand him up here. I like that. I really, really like that gimmick. I think it's pretty cool. I honestly think that Hiya should take this gimmick and do it with their Godzilla Evolve. Give us a Godzilla Evolve that has a heat ray effect as well. Because I think that would be pretty cool. But yeah, it's definitely a nice little gimmick. It's definitely something that I think Monster Arts should do too. I mean, the removable neck and headpiece so that you can get him in his little heat ray shot pose would be pretty nice on some Monster Arts. I mean, we're paying $130 for most of our Godzilla figures now, and then we're paying $50 for the Hiya Toys, and Hiya Toys is like, hey, yeah, let's give you a neck piece so that you can do your heat ray effect. And Monster Arts is like, nope, we're just going to charge you this much money for this. Don't get me wrong, I love my Monster Arts, but Hiya Toys is finding a special place in my heart because the only MonsterVerse figures we literally had when Godzilla released was NECA. And the NECA figures are nice, but they just didn't have the same depth that Hiya has brought to the table. And the nice thing is that these tend to scale well with some of your other SH Monster Arts. In case you didn't get the other Hiya toy figures, I'm still trying to get the Kong. I'm holding out, and hopefully maybe we'll get a Beast Glove Kong that I can use, because that would be pretty cool. But yeah, those are my initial thoughts on this figure. I personally think that if you have a chance to buy him, I would buy him. It is definitely not something you would want to miss out in having your collection, especially if you're big on the Hiya toys. I will have a link posted below for the Godzilla store in the US. I believe he's still available online, so you should still be able to pick him up. I ordered mine about 3 or 4 days ago, and he just showed up today, and I was actually pretty impressed because I wasn't expecting to get him as fast as I had gotten him. But yeah, also, if you guys like the video, please leave a comment Let me know what you think of the review. Let me know what your thoughts are on this Godzilla. Would you love to add him to your collection or not? And also, is there anything that you think could be done differently with the Hiya stuff? I personally think that Hiya is definitely hitting the mark for perfect. They're not there yet, but they are definitely doing a good job. And I hope they continue to pump out some good stuff like this. I'm really excited to see their Shimu figure, and I'm really hoping that we see a Scar King. And with as articulated as their Godzilla figures have been, I'm pretty sure that we're going to get a really kick-ass Scar King, and that Shimu is going to be kick-ass too. And I've got that one on pre-order and just cannot wait to get her in my hands. But that is the review for tonight, folks. So I am going to let you all go, and I will catch you on the flip side.